out there. As a
Yeah.
young artist, do you feel that that's one of the things I asked John, the blues artist? Do you feel that you got enough training in the creative arts as a young person when you were coming up in either high school or college? Because I'm of the opinion that we don't teach enough of the arts, and that arts is actually how a lot of people develop their critical thinking, and I don't know that we give it enough support. But I was wondering what your opinion is on that.
Well, in high school, the art the art teacher in high school kind of took me under his wing because he saw how creative I was. I was always coming before class, staying after class, and he made me in 11th grade. I became the art class assistant. So 11th and 12th grade, I had keys to the art studio and stuff like that, and I was always assisting the underclassmen. I had like three periods of art of being an art assistant in 12th grade, and after that, I went to the Art Institute of Charlotte. I have a degree from the Art Institute in digital and multimedia design. So I don't know. You just have to. There's places out there where you can feed yourself, but if you allow for the systems that be to kind of feed your creativeness, then you are going to come up short. It is not like it used to be, and that's a lot because a lot of funding has been cut for other things like these weapons and these other programs that don't benefit kids. They took like home ec and things of that sort out of the schools, which is crazy. So now you have to have these programs taught after school, or you have to have some alternative way to teach your kids just basic life skills and creativeness. But there's avenues out there. You just have to search them out and find them.
Yeah, you definitely have to do that. There's no doubt about that. Just real quick, then I want to hear you, May, give a couple of your bars and everything. Nicole, you've been listening to the conversation on the creative side and everything. So I was wondering, do you have any interest or background in your own world with blues? Are you a fan of the blues, and are you a fan of spoken word? And have you heard spoken word artists that have dealt with issues like fostering and adoption and things of that nature?
Well, I am a fan of the blues, although I don't get out to hear it as much as I would like. As your previous guest was saying, at a certain point, you kind of want to relax at home. But no, I've actually never been to a spoken word event.
We're going to have to get you to come to one of the ones here in the Triangle, because they're always looking for new people to actually. One of the things that happens with the spoken word, and May can explain a little bit of that better with the next question I'm going to ask him, but I do know that they do select people from the audience to be the judges. They tease the members that are the judges because they always say that one of them will be the quote-unquote East German judge that is very tough on the scoring and things of that nature. So they always tease them about that nature because there's always one in the crowd that's a little bit harsher than others, even though I've been working at Haytop for a number of years. So I can tell you that there have been some slams where I think that they were all East German judges, and there's been some where I thought that they were all just way too generous. They were throwing tens out there like it was going out of style. But that is some of the things that I have noticed in the competitions as long as I've been working at the Haytop Heritage Center, which has the monthly slam every month on the third Saturday. Maine, what are some of the myths that you think people have about the spoken word world and everything? Because I do know that there a lot of people think about Def Jam and the Def Poetry Slam series and everything, and think that it's going to be just like that. But what other myths do you find people have about the poetry scene and the spoken word scene to be more exact?
Just like all types of artistic cultures, there are genres and subgenres of it. So every event is not going to be the same. Everything is not cookie cutter per se. There's literary poetry, which is like written poetry that can be read. There's also underground or street poetry. There's a cappella rapping. There's competitive slam poetry. There's different types of poetry, so you can't really like just clump it all together into one category per se. So you don't. It's good to just. It's good. It's the art of words. So it's good to just have an open mind and go out and check all the different facets of poetry out. and see what kind really speaks to you, because poetry is actually therapy. You know, it's therapy to the poet, and it's also therapy to the listener. You know, because getting, you know, going to a museum and looking at art or looking at sculpture or going to a blues concert or to any kind of musical concert, you get that vibration, you get that therapy in those forms. You can get the same thing in the art of words, which is poetry.
No doubt about that. You definitely have some therapy, and y'all are not, like you said, you definitely is one of them, but poets in general at the spoken word competitions are not afraid to tackle tough issues. So if you had to say two of your personal favorite poems, what would they be, and can we hear them?
I don't know what the PG rating is on your show, because I use all words. I don't discount any words. To me, the worst curse is a lie, so I try not to use any lies in my poetry. But I do use all words. Just like there's nudity in paintings, there's nudity and explicitness in my words as well.
And we do not mind the explicitness, and they have not shut us down, and we've had a couple people that have used the words, so you can go ahead and just go all in.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. One of my favorite poems that I've recently written is a poem entitled Paper. And the reason it has become one of my favorite is because of the reason that I wrote it. I had put too much into these digital gadgets, and I had a lot of my poems. I was putting together a book, and I had put a lot of my poems on my phone, and didn't save them anywhere else. And my phone died, and I lost like 46 poems. And so the valuable lesson was, you know, writing things on paper, you know, was more valuable than this expensive gadget that I had entrusted. So I wrote a poem called Paper, and here it goes. All right. When I came into this world, they gave my mother a piece of paper, a birth certificate to bear my name, and that paper be sacred, it be testament. That paper be contract to certify my worth on this earth, $111,000 to be exact, subtracted from the national debt or traded on the NASDAQ like livestock. That car stock be title, like good deed or job well done. That's what my mother used to tell me. Right after she collected the piece of paper that I've been Picassoing with crayons bearing my 4-year-old name, and she treated that paper like it was sacred, like it was masterpiece framed with our refrigerator door. In school, I used to use notebook paper or construction paper to construct answers to the work that I was subjected to. 12 years of scholastic slaving just to receive a whole nother piece of paper to become a high school diplomat, which qualified me for student loans. Just sign right here, sir, on this dotted line at the bottom of this here piece of paper. This contract with Sally Mae so that I may sally forth for 4 more years of writing term papers to graduate, to walk across the stage, shake hands to the first degree, sign, sealed, delivered, a very expensive piece of paper that most people frame right before they go on a paper chase in the fast lane of a rat race, just a mouse click away from poverty, making life and death decisions like rock, paper, scissors, or even worse, paper or plastic, living life check to check on maxed out credit cards or checks so paper thin that you have to choose between paper plates, toilet paper, or something to fucking eat. And even though food tastes the same whether it's served on fine china or paper plates, I hope God continues to hold me down like loose leaf under paperweights, because loose lips have always taken shit, but when we put down on paper what we manifest, that's what should make our boat float. Whether it's origami love letters to our life partner or paper mache airplanes flown with our sons and daughters, there was power in every sheet. So make a plan, like a blueprint, and get your paper up, player, but don't be mistaken, because money is not paper. Money is cut from a different cloth. Money is not sacred. It be recycled like broken Bible commandments, coveted like run that shit like a fool, and it's money because all the dead presidents were about their Benjamins until death did its part. Paper is that marriage certificate that'll make you say I do when you really fucking don't. It's documented like prophecies printed on papyrus, which is why they hide information in books that are used for kindling, and they call it global warming. So when I leave this cold, cold world, they give my loved ones a piece of paper, a death certificate to bear my name, a church program with my picture, a newspaper clipping with my eulogy in that paper. That beautiful little piece of paper will be the end of my contract. It'll be sacred. It'll be testament. Yeah, so that's my newest favorite one. That's paper right there.
Yeah, that's a deep one, definitely. And you're right. We're oftentimes paying too much attention to the various forms of paper that are out there, but particularly those money papers and things of that nature. Now, another thing that I know that you're not afraid to do with your poetry is tackle social justice. I mean, you alluded to some of it with paper and also political issues. So is there a favorite poem that you have that touches on either political issues or social justice?
I have so many. I literally have a book full of those type of poems that I'm working on releasing 2 poetry books this year. So yeah, I can do any of those type for you.
Pick one of those. And if you got one that deals with social justice or something along those lines, if you got something that deals with our current world politics, either one.
Okay. Yeah. Here's one entitled Crying Wolf. Because that's basically what the Cheeto Man is doing right now to us.
Yeah.
All right. Just for the score, more than 4,000 years or so ago, my folks were kings, astrologers and scientists, the best of all things, and then fate put barbarians at our gate. Their curiosity turned to jealousy, which then turned into hate. And hatred? Well, that's the loss of all things sacred. You see, something's bound to happen, yes, while we digress. You see, imagine if God had to give his only son for the sins of men through the soul of one, crusades being led by dark ages for a world whose his story was torn out by the pages. But Christopher Columbus is famous for a mistake like an ignoramus, but hey, past that Thanksgiving. You see, because the real American natives were nothing close to Indian, yet they was robbed and they was raped and they was left in oblivion, killing braves from their lack of bravery. This land is our land, but we need help. Slavery. Damn near 400 years that old fuck shit was active. See, but my people weren't slaves. Now, we was kidnapped and held captive. They stole our religion. They changed our names. They beat us, starved us, sold us, split us, put us in chains. We who built a whole cotton-picking nation by hand, but not for ourselves. Nah, we did it for this other man. And then Honest Abe, he tried to proclamate generations of hate for all these niggas to emancipate. 40 acres and a mule. Shit, why are we poor? Now tell me, what did we fight for in that uncivil war? My brother man Marcus, he said, let's head back to the motherland. But should we have listened? Because I wish that we would listen. You see, it's reparations with integration or separation, because we get no vote, have no rights, barely got an education, but we overcame and we're still the best of all things in music, inventions. Fuck with us in the boxing ring. Then why we ain't got no power, huh? Let's fight the power in spite, because somebody got to stand up for these uncivil rights by any means necessary. Did you hear what he said? See, we should hear Malcolm's words more clearly now that he's dead, and Martin a little farther now that Martin's at rest, because that brother had a dream while we still digress. Bam. Vietnam, a black and a white man is killing the yellow man to protect the American land stole from the red man, but that's not enough. Wait, hold up the floodgates like Watergate, because a vandal trying to strangle us. And how long will we allow them to handle us? They who drug us and rape us, who pimp us and mold us in these government projects that was made to control us. You see how things can go from bad to worse for people? For my people who was on this earth first, they out there storming deserts to kill terrorists, racist people, but let someone take a shot at old Trump. Boy, that shit there is illegal. We don't make guns. We don't grow coke. I think you're trying to disease me, brother. Keep killing your own brother, all right? Let's make his job easier. Sister,